A CBC investigation has found problems in Canada's growing surrogacy industry. In Canada, it's illegal to pay a surrogate, but you can reimburse her for pregnancy expenses. That has created a series of issues with families going down that path. Chris Glover has been looking into this, and he joins us now with more. Chris, you found several families who found the vulnerability. It left them paying more than they feel they should have.
Yeah, what we've found is that there's a serious lack of transparency in the surrogacy industry, and that is leaving parents at risk of potentially paying more than they should have, and also at risk of getting in trouble with the law for it.
Since I can remember, I wanted kids.
For Anna Camille Tucci, a baby almost didn't happen. In 2017, she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer, but this past December, a surrogate delivered her son. Tucci agreed to reimburse her a monthly maximum of nearly $2,000 for pregnancy expenses.
We thought that though she would never really actually meet that max.
But the surrogate did every month. Tucci had paid an agency to handle the process and the money. Canadian Fertility Consulting, or CFC. This expense breakdown is all she could get.
This kind of made us think, wow, where is all this money coming from?
With categories like $700 monthly paid out for groceries.
You know, the two of us together, I don't think we spend that much.
CFC's policy is to provide receipts after the birth. Canadian law says reimbursements must be pregnancy related, or those paying could face 10 years in prison and a $500,000 fine.
No one wants to be in a situation where they're caught doing things that they weren't supposed to be doing without even knowing.
We found 4 other families who used CFC services and have similar concerns. One father paid $5,000 for his surrogate's expenses, even though she miscarried in the first month.
Oh, a lottery ticket.
We reviewed his surrogate's receipts with his lawyer and found a lottery ticket, duplicates, and many dated before he'd met his surrogate.
This is not playing within the rules, so it's putting everybody at risk.
A former CFC surrogate whose voice we've disguised says the agency encouraged her to submit as many receipts as possible.
You just save all of your receipts from the second you're matched. Doesn't matter. Anything, you save it. So it's a little shady. Like a lot shady.
CFC's owner, Leah Swanberg, is the only person in Canada to have been charged with paying surrogates. She pleaded guilty in 2013 and paid a $60,000 fine. In an initial interview, Swanberg said she now has 6 employees reviewing receipts.
I will not take that risk for any client or any surrogate. And so I am extremely diligent with my team.
But later refused to address specific allegations we found.
It puts us in such a vulnerable situation because, again, at the end of the day, all we want is that baby, and we'll do anything for it.
So, Dwight, new federal regulations are coming into place in June, but they won't necessarily fix the problems that we've found here. They will introduce a new declaration form that will need to be signed in relation to these expenses. But the thing is, the parents still won't have mandatory access to those receipts prior to their money going out. And that was really the crux of the problems that we found.
They want to know exactly where it's being spent. Now, this is all part of a CBC series called Baby Business. And you have another installment for us tomorrow.
Yeah, so today we looked at those vulnerabilities that the parents were under. Tomorrow we look at the vulnerabilities that the surrogates themselves are under. And specifically in that regard, we're looking at the medical vulnerabilities that these women are undertaking as they're doing such an important thing for families out there.
Look forward to that piece tomorrow. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Dwight.
We are digging into the surrogacy industry again tonight as part of our series, Baby Business. While most of these births go off without a hitch, our CBC News investigation has found there are no medical standards for surrogacy pregnancies in Canada, and that's leaving women and babies at greater risk. Chris Glover joins us live now with more on this. And you spoke to a woman who is, I guess, trying to warn others.
Yeah, you're about to meet a woman who says she got caught up in all the positive aspects of being a surrogate. And in the end, she's now dealing with life-altering complications that a Toronto high-risk obstetrician says could have been avoided if the medical system had rules in place for surrogates.
Already a mother of two, in 2016, Elizabeth Roberts saw her friend act as a surrogate and decided to do it too. She'll never forget the first time she gave birth to another couple's baby.
Seeing the parents hold their daughter, and the dad looked up at me and he just had tears streaming down his face and he just said, "Thank you." Come on.
But now in such pain, she can't do much more than walk the dogs. After the first birth, she did a second surrogacy within 6 months. That one ended in medical complications.
We do get wrapped up in the feel-goods. It's an incredible feedback experience, so why wouldn't you want to experience that again? You just might not be ready.
Well, leaves them vulnerable.
This high-risk obstetrician says Canada needs mandatory wait times for repeat surrogacies. He says these women tend to be older, have had multiple pregnancies, and are being implanted with other people's embryos.
So they're receiving genetic material that they've never faced before, which brings them to the higher risks.
During our investigation, we spoke to one surrogate who had a C-section birth and was implanted with another couple's embryo less than 4 months later. She says no one advised her to wait longer. And while ultimately she was fine, Dr. Kingdom says someone should have advised her to wait a year.
Pre-pregnancy counseling might have resulted in a decision not to be a surrogate or to delay it for further investigations. That's what informed choice is, and really every woman in this country deserves really good informed choice.
Health Canada told us it doesn't have the authority to force the changes Kingdom wants. The practice of medicine is regulated by the provinces and territories.
Good job.
Meanwhile, Robert's complications now require a hysterectomy. She says the system is leaving surrogates at risk.
They're not breed mares, we're people.
So where is the pressure coming from to have another baby then?
For Elizabeth Roberts, she says that the pressure came from herself. You heard in the piece there how amazing the first experience was. So she went looking and signed herself up for a second pregnancy. But in some cases, women have told us these private surrogacy agencies have asked them to be a surrogate again within just a couple days of having given birth. And keep in mind, every time these companies secure a surrogate for another couple, they will get thousands of dollars in consultancy fees. So something that was never supposed to be a commercial industry,
Money, yeah.
many say it has turned into exactly just that.
Thank you for this, Chris.
Thanks, Dwight.